Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta, and we're joining you live from the CNN News 18 Federal Bank Primetime Studio. Kanwar Yatra, which begins on Monday, day 1 of Sawan, is an annual pilgrimage of devotees of Shiva to Hindu pilgrimage places in Uttarakhand and Bihar to fetch holy waters of the Ganga river. And it's not for the first time that this yatra has become a point of confrontation and even political bickering. In the past too, this yatra has come under scanner for behavior of the yatris themselves or for local rules imposed during the yatra. And yet again, it has become a flashpoint. After the Uttar Pradesh government, now the Dhami Sarkar in Uttarakhand too has asked eateries along the route to disclose their proprietors' names. Many feel this can have unintended consequences. While the order is for all, for some reason, opposition and even some BJP allies feel this could hamper Muslim owners disproportionately because Hindu devotees will not want to eat at their stalls. Is that discrimination or a matter of choice? And is the government needlessly intervening in this matter, making it a case of overreach, or is their order valid? We'll take those questions to our guests in just a bit. First up, let's tell you how even BJP allies are objecting to the diktat and are uncomfortable with the optics. So in Uttar Pradesh, the order is now across the state along the route of the yatra, while in Uttarakhand, it is only in Haridwar. JDU's KC Tyagi, for example, has said that this diktat may fan communal tensions in the states. RLD says it promotes caste and communalism and wants it withdrawn. Now, the BJP has defended this action because of past instances of misleading hoardings or even cases where Muslim vendors have been found to be spitting in food. For example, a street vendor in Uttar Pradesh's Bareilly district was arrested after he was allegedly caught urinating on vegetables on his cart that he was planning to sell in a Hindu majority area. A 21-year-old vendor, Nawaz Pasha, was arrested in Bengaluru after the public alleged he was spitting into the cooking oil that was being used. In another viral video, a barber named Mohammad Zaid in Lucknow was arrested for allegedly rubbing saliva on customers that were coming to his shop. Now, there are some other cases that have, of course, come to light from social media predominantly, and in many of those, there are videos. Action has been taken. But does that justify this order of the BJP governments in Uttarakhand and UP? We'll take that question to our guest joining us in just a bit. Is this overreach or is this a valid order?
The dhaba is Veerji the dhaba, whereas the name of the owner that has been mentioned over here is proprietor Israr Putra Amir Azam. कितने लोग यहाँ पे आपने एम्प्लॉय कर रखे हैं?
7 मुसलमान हैं, 9 हिंदू है मेरे भाई। कावड़ के टाइम पे स्लो हो जाता है नॉर्मल, ट्रैफिक तो बंद ही हो जाता है बिल्कुल, तो उसी हिसाब से बस चाय पानी अपना चालू रखते हैं। अब तो सोच रहे हैं छुट्टी 8 दिन की छुट्टी मनाएंगे।
इस तरह से एक मैसेज दिया जा रहा है कि ये हिंदू की दुकान है, ये मुसलमान की दुकान है, आप मुसलमान का बायकॉट करें, हिंदू की दुकान से काम करें।
How much are you going to divide the people of this country and to what extent? But the BJP doesn't seem to learn a lesson. The reality is that you deeply divided people, you stoked communal violence, you stoked hatred, and the people taught you a lesson.
कांवड़ यात्रियों की शुचिता, सुरक्षा और सम्मान की दृष्टि से ये फैसला, ये दिशा निर्देश है और इसका सम्मान सबको करना चाहिए।
Let's go across to our guest joining us. Dr. Kaushal Mishra is spokesperson of Uttar Pradesh BJP. VP RLD Inderjeet Singh will be with us in just a bit. Pooja Tripathi of the Congress Party and Desh Ratan Nigam, advocate leaning towards the BJP and the RSS, also joining us on the show. Dr. Kaushal, I'm beginning with you. Even your own allies are extremely uncomfortable both with the substance of the order, but also I think the optics of the order. And many people, including the opposition, are reminding the BJP that it's exactly these policies and practices under Yogi Adityanath, for example, that have not gone down very well with the public. And this is why you've seen the results you've seen in the Lok Sabha elections.
Shivani, first of all, it should be clear to everyone that BJP is not doing politics for the vote, for the 5-year plan. BJP is for the faith, for the Indian society, for the culture, and every statement or every decision comes from BJP is for the country only. And I don't see any illegality in this order, because the Consumer Protection Act CPA 1986 provides consumers to right to choose, right to safety, right to inform, right to consumer education, right to redressal. These are the constitutional rights provided to every consumer. And if the consumer have got the most faithful week or month going on, someone is going on. So in my opinion, bringing this type of information on all the area where this Kanwar Yatra is passing everywhere, it should be displayed properly, so that the faith and sanity of the people should not be disturbed. So this was the basic thing. Everybody can see their own optics, as you said, it's about optics. We are not here for optics, but we are here for good policies.
No, but even your allies feel that this is communal in nature, this could be divisive in nature, it could lead to harm to a certain community or society. How would you respond to that before I go across to Congress as well?
Shivani, I don't see there is any big thing about that. We have seen the Supreme Court has and government has passed an order that because of pollution, we should not go for firecracker, and everybody respected that, and Hindus are not burning crackers on many occasions. We are seeing in Delhi for last many years. But if the same thing desired by the majority Hindu community, that the food which is served to them, it should be faithful and it should be full of sanity, I don't see any reason. This is one. Two, Shivani, one more thing which is very important, more than this, everybody must know halal economy. I am not talking about halal food. It is not about halal food or jhatka food. I am talking about halal economy. Halal economy is very well accepted by these politicians. They never come out, they always put mum in their face. They are not telling anything regarding halal economy. And what is halal economy? You go on the halal certifying website. Halal economy says if any product is halal certified, it means from production, distribution till the consumer, everything will be done by Muslim. It is written on their website and the halal certificate provided to them. And our Indians are so tolerant that they are taking this, and there is no problem because it is not associated with vote bank. And this particular thing, in which just for this Sawan festival and for the Kanwar Yatra, if this is implemented, it is for their faith, it is for the good faith of countrymen.
No,
I
but
don't
by
see
that
there
logic,
if anybody has got objection, Shivani, just one last thing. If anybody has got just objection on that, they should first oppose the halal economy.
Okay, but by that logic, then it shouldn't just be for Kanwar Yatra, the duration or the route. If the logic is so sound, then it should be perpetual and it should be for all places. I'll come back to that. If the government has the will to do that, if it has started with this and it believes this is the right start and it believes that this is the right policy. But let me bring in Pooja as well. Pooja, Dr. Kaushal has a point. One, food preferences of even who handles your food is not unique to one particular community. And if halal certification is not a problem for politicians, they don't find that communal, though it marginalizes everybody else but Muslims from partaking in it, then what is the problem here? Here the government is not even saying eat this or don't eat this, go here or don't go here. The government is only saying let the proprietors disclose their correct names and let the public decide.
So Shivani, a mango bought by Kanwar would be an Hindu mango or a Muslim mango would depend on what the name of the thela displays. So however you may brush it under hygiene, safety, they haven't said ki only vegetarians food, or you have strict guidelines, stringent guidelines on ensuring the safety and hygiene of food. This is actually a very blatant attempt for economic boycott of Muslims and Dalits too. When our constitution, Article 15 says you will not prohibit on the grounds of religion, race, sex and caste.
But where is the prohibition? There is no prohibition here. Everybody is allowed to do their business.
So when you are saying ki Kamaniya, the religious purity may get affected when they consume food from somebody prepared from a Muslim community, the food must have been grown by somebody from Muslim community. I think this is purely communal. And what they are trying through this policy, they have not learned their lessons from Ayodhya and Badrinath. What they are trying is turning an once aspirational nation, which proudly displays it. Ras Khan is as much as devout of Krishna as Meera. And when we say, when a Mehronissa protects a Chaturbhuj temple at Orcha. So this is the diversity we are proud of. And they want to turn a once aspirational
But
nation.
does diversity puja mean that I necessarily need to eat food prepared by a non-vegetarian if I am a vegetarian during my vrat? That's not diversity.
What's the problem of Kawadiyas? Kawadiyas take on a month-long pilgrimage and they want to eat Shuddha Shakahari Vaishnav food. They should have displayed that. Why do you want? I yesterday saw a report on Red Mike, the independent YouTube reporter, saying that there was Shaukat who has been working for 12 years in the service of Kawadiyas, and the dhaba owner said that he's a vegetarian too, but I have to remove him from the service. They will not oppose halal economy when we'll take the 550 crores worth money of electoral bond from the beef exporting companies.
Electoral bond is a separate issue. That's not a matter of personal preference or choice. Here, no, Pooja, I'm sorry. I think I've heard this electoral bond analogy being drawn, but that is not relevant here because which company donates to which party is hardly a matter of sattvic food or tendencies. But my point is this. You can question the BJP taking from a beef company or whatever, that's a separate issue. But my question is this. This is a matter of choice of a customer, right? And if halal has its own religious ways of preparation that nobody has objected to, why is everybody up in arms only now?
It's not about halal. You have specifically asked them to mention the names.
Yes.
Al-Kabir or Al-Arabia, something like that. You have asked them, you have actually marginalized them.
No, the order is very secular. The order doesn't single out any community. The order says everyone needs to disclose their names. But answer the question on halal. Are you for halal certification and isolation of non-Muslims out of halal economy or not?
I think you should question this to BJP. If they want to block the halal economy, they are free to do so. But they'll not do so.
But you are objecting to this on the basis of communalism, on the basis of marginalization. Then why don't you see marginalization or communalism there? How is it okay that somebody's religious, Pooja, how is it okay that somebody's religious sentiments of how their food is prepared is okay, but another community's food preferences become bias? Then call both bias.
That's what I'm saying. How is your food prepared? You should have mentioned it Shakahari and Vaishnav. Why do you want the name? How does a mango and a banana bought from a thela of an Abdul becomes Musalman and one from the Rahul becomes
No, it's
Hindu?
not about what is being served. In halal, only a Muslim can slaughter the animal for that meat to be considered halal. How is that? No, 1 second. If that is the prescription and that comes from religious theology, object to that too.
So we are saying, yeah, go ahead and make make a policy against
Yeah,
halal.
you're saying that. You're saying that today because I'm pressing you. But that has never been said by opposition earlier. And I can bet you my bottom paisa that the moment the government starts to restrict this and it tries to open up the halal economy, you will be the first person to object. I can bet today. Deshrattam Nigam.
Shivani.
Pooja, I'll give you an opportunity to respond to this. If you're objecting to the food preference of who is handling the food of Kanwar Yatris, then would you object to halal certification also limiting it to Muslim slaughterers?
So I'm saying go ahead and block it. Then,
Okay,
you know,
go ahead
your
and
own
block it.
MLA Sangeet Som would not be the biggest halal meat exporter. Your own MLA, you know, the bigotry lies right there. Your own MLA is the biggest halal beef exporter in the country.
So
and
is
that's
he
what we are
communal
saying.
because he...
This is
So one
economic
second.
Shivani.
This is very convenient.
Shivani.
So
Shivani.
is BJP communal
Shivani.
because they allow halal certification, or are they communal
BJP
because they
is
don't allow
communal
halal?
because they through this diktat have led to economic boycott of
Shivani.
Muslims. We have seen Muslims being.
So
and these
why
are-
have you never
these are the
objected to
people-
halal
Shivani.
economy and boycott of non-Muslims in halal economy? Why have you never objected to it?
So we are saying go ahead and boycott.
You're
it.
saying
When
it today, but that has never been said by you before. Yes, Mr.
Shivani,
Mishra
Shivani.
wants to come in, and then Mr.
just-
Deshrathan.
Just I am showing something, please enlarge. Here it's not about food, it's about, this is halal residential society of the Kerala. In 2022 there is halal hospital at the Kochi, Chennai, sorry. In the Kochi, this is a residential campus. You can see this is halal. You can see the cream powder lipstick becomes halal. There is dating app which is halal. I don't see why the Congress or any opposition never opposed this. And if they can oppose this order of the UP government, and now it is also implemented to Uttarakhand, how they can accepted this halal certificates and halal economy for many years after independence. If anybody can defend halal, they cannot object anything other than this.
There are actually even halal housing societies now that I have seen advertisements of.
Yes.
But, you know, quote unquote, the seculars in this country, self-appointed seculars in this country, opposed to, for example, Hindu-dominated societies not letting out or subletting their apartments to Muslim tenants. But halal societies, nobody objects to. So my point is simple. If you see communalism in this order, you must condemn communalism of all kinds, and ostracization and marginalization and cutting off of all kinds. You can't pick and choose, because then it becomes about political vote bank politics. I'm also joined by the RLD National VP, Inderjeet Singh Tittu, who's joining us. Sir, your party is also uncomfortable with the diktat that by the UP government, where you have your politics to play, and even in Uttarakhand. Can you outline to me what your objection is?
What's your question? I am late to joining you. Please talk me in Hindi and please
अच्छा,
repeat your
मैं
question.
आपसे ये पूछना चाह रही हूँ कि आरएलडी ने ऑब्जेक्ट किया है जो उत्तराखंड में और जो यूपी में ऑर्डर दिया गया है कांवड़ यात्रा को लेके, और ढाबा वगैरह पे ओनर का नाम छापना जरूरी है, ये ऑर्डर दिया गया है। आरएलडी को इससे आपत्ति है। मैं जानना चाहती हूँ कि क्यों है आपत्ति?
नहीं, आपत्ति ये है कि हमने धार्मिक एक यात्रा है, जो कांवड़ यात्रा है, धार्मिक यात्रा है, और जब धर्म के लिए कोई काम कर रहे हैं तो हमारे को दूसरे के मन को ठेस पहुंचाने का कोई परमात्मा आज्ञा नहीं देता है। हम किसी की खुशी के लिए, आपको पता होगा मैडम कि ये जो कांवड़ यात्रा है, कई लोगों ने मन्नत मानी होती है कि मेरे साथ ये मेरा काम होगा तो मैं तो करूंगा, मेरे घर में सुख शांति रहे, मेरा व्यापार तरक्की करे, मेरे परिवार में खुशहाली रहे, मेरा परिवार तंदुरुस्त रहे। तो किसी न किसी मन्नत को लेकर ये सब चीजें करी जाती है, और ऐसे में अगर किसी का मन दुखाता है तो परमात्मा भी खुश नहीं होगा। ये जो कर रहे हैं यह परमात्मा, हम भी खुश रहे, हमारा परमात्मा जिसको गॉड मानते हैं।
किसका मन उखड़ा है?
जिसको
किसका मन उखड़ेगा इससे, आप बताइए।
देखो, मैं सिर्फ ये अपनी बात कहना चाह रहा हूँ,
अच्छा।
हमारे लिए तो पॉजिटिव वाइब्रेशंस जानी चाहिए। हम जो काम कर रहे हैं हम अच्छे के लिए कर रहे हैं, और अच्छे के काम हो कि जिसमें सबकी राजामंदी हो, क्योंकि भारतवर्ष सब धर्म सम्मान्य, सभी धर्मों के लोग यहाँ रहते हैं और हम एक दूसरे के सुख दुख में शामिल होते हैं। लोग हमारे यहाँ आते हैं, हम लोगों के यहाँ जाते हैं। तो ये जो पर्व है, जैसे दिवाली है, दशहरा है, हम हमारे यहाँ लोग आते हैं, हम ईद पे दूसरे लोगों की ईद पे जाते हैं। तो जो भी जैनी लोग हो, हम उनकी यात्रा में शामिल होते हैं। जो कश्यप समाजों को यात्रा
तो
करता है।
इंद्रजीत जी, आपको नहीं लगता कि जो भी आप बोल रहे हैं वो आपका मैटर ऑफ चॉइस है? अगर किसी का चॉइस ये है कि वो कुछ हफ्तों के लिए
शिवानी।
बिल्कुल सात्विक खाना खाना चाहते हैं तो उसमें
शिवानी।
क्या बुराई है? मिश्रा जी, मैं आ रही हूँ आपके पास, एक सेकंड रुकिए।
शिवानी,
देखो मैडम, मेरा ऑब्जेक्ट ये है, मैं जो आपको ब्रीफ करना चाह रहा हूँ वो ये करना चाह रहा हूँ कि हम कोई काम अच्छे के लिए, पॉजिटिव के लिए करना चाह रहे हैं। अगर समाज में इसका कोई नेगेटिव मैसेज जा रहा है
ओके,
तो हमारा मतलब
समाज
ये
में गलत मैसेज जा रहा है,
हम-
ये पॉइंट मैं देश रत्न निगम के पास भी ले जाऊंगी। यस मिस्टर मिश्रा, व्हाट आर यू शोइंग? वेरी क्विकली सर, मिस्टर निगम हैज बीन वेटिंग पेशेंटली।
मैं सिर्फ ये दिखाना चाह रहा था शिवानी कि देयर यू कैन सी देयर इज हलाल हॉस्पिटल, फर्स्ट हॉस्पिटल ऑफ द कंट्री, halal, which is in Chennai. We can see the COVID vaccine, halal. We can see the dating app, halal. I have got all the photographs. Everything can be shown to you. I can send you. So if they can accept this type of thing, what he is saying?
इंद्रजीत जी, क्या बोल रहे हैं आप?
क्या बोल रहे हैं
गलत है?
मैं ये कह रहा हूँ, ये जो वर्जन दे रहे हैं हलाल के नाम से,
हाँ।
और कर्नाटक का दे रहे हैं, मतलब यात्रा जो हमारी यात्रा है वो मैक्सिमम यूपी के क्षेत्र को बिलोंग करती, टच करती है।
अरे
और
सर, मैं ये कह रहा हूं
इंद्रजीत
इंद्रजीत जी, मैं सिर्फ हाथ जोड़ के ये कह रहा हूं कि अगर आपने अभी तक हलाल फूड, हलाल इकोनॉमी, हलाल प्रोडक्ट, हलाल हॉस्पिटल, हलाल डेटिंग ऐप, हलाल सारी चीजों, कॉस्मेटिक्स, लिपस्टिक, पाउडर चीजों पर अगर ऑब्जेक्शन नहीं किया है तो उसका क्या रीजन था? जबकि आप हलाल की वेबसाइट पे जाकर के देखेंगे तो जमायत उलेमाए हिंद नाम की एक प्राइवेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हलाल सर्टिफिकेट देती है और उस सर्टिफिकेट में यह लिखा होता है, सब लोग जाके वेबसाइट पे पढ़ सकते हैं कि अगर हलाल सर्टिफिकेट दिया जाएगा इसका मतलब उसके प्रोडक्शन, अगर सीड है तो उसके बोने से लेके, उगाने से लेके, काटने से लेके, पैकेजिंग से लेके सेलिंग तक सारी चीजें मुस्लिम करेंगे। अगर इतना बड़ा हम लोग टॉलरेंट होकर के बर्दाश्त कर रहे हैं, एक महीने के लिए अगर सावन में अगर बाकी लोग बर्दाश्त करेंगे तो क्या प्रॉब्लम है? और दिवाली के समय जब पटाखे बंद हो जाते हैं उस पोल्यूशन की वजह से, ये तो पोल्यूशन इंसैनिटी पैदा की जा रही है। अगर कोई आदमी, आप मुझे नहीं मालूम, मैं किसी से पर्सनल नहीं होना चाहता, यहां बहुत सारे लोग बैठे हुए हैं, क्या उनके घर में सावन के दिनों में किसी हलाल वाली फूड को कंज्यूम किया जाएगा? नहीं किया जाएगा। इट्स अबाउट आवर फेथ।
ओके,
You try to understand. I am not against. What about halal economy?
Okay, 1 second. Can I just go? Yeah, Hanji, Indrajit ji. I'm sorry, Mr. Nigam. It's taking a little bit of time, but I'm coming to you next. Yes, Indrajit.
मैं मैडम ये कहना चाह रहा हूँ, अगर कोई गलती दूसरा कोई कर रहा है तो जरूरी तो नहीं है। हाँ, जो हमारा जब अपना गठबंधन है इसमें कई पार्टियों साथ मिलकर एनडीए में काम कर रही है, हमें एक दूसरे की भावनाओं का आदर करना है। हमारा ऑब्जेक्शन ये है, हम कोई दूसरा गलती कर रहा है तो हम उस गलती को हम ना करें। हमारा मतलब ये कि हम जितने भी ज्वाइनिंग ग्रुप है एनडीए के अंदर, हम सबकी भावनाओं को कदर करें।
Okay.
सबकी भावनाओं के साथ
There is definitely a political overtone to what the RLD and others are saying. They're clearly very worried about the optics of something like this, perhaps for their vote bank. Mr. Nigam, I'm coming to you. The question that does arise is whether this policy, even if well intended and for a short period of time, can have some needless consequences. And the other question that arises is, where will this stop? If this becomes our second nature, that we will not eat if so and so is involved, we will not buy if so and so is involved, it would fracture the society.
Well, Shivani, it is a matter of my choice, and that the Constitution permits that choice. Please remember that. And once we have that informed choice, which is constitutional right, legal right, and statutory right, nobody can take away that right. Now, to say that Hindus should not follow that choice, as if Hindus do not have feelings and that their feelings are not hurt, everybody else's feelings are hurt. That cannot be a proposition in a constitutional democracy. One. Secondly, when you don't enter into a jhatka shop and eat jhatka meat, it is not untouchability. It is not communalism. When you call us kafirs, is it not communalism and untouchability? If you say that you cannot worship any other god other than Allah, is it not communalism and untouchability? Please remember that this is the most secular order which respects the choice of a person. And this is not about politics. It is not about BJP or its allies or Congress or communists. This is about Sanatan faith, a food which is to be prepared in a Vaishnav way, and Vaishnav food is offered to a god. It is not allowed in Islam to offer that food to a Hindu god. It is prohibited there. Please understand that. And halal economy, is it not communalism? Is it the halal hospital, as Mr. Mishra was pointing out? See,
how does a hospital become halal? I don't understand.
It will become halal because everybody employed there would be Muslims. It will be, the money would come from Muslims, and everything would become halal that way. Please understand, this is communal. This is high level of communalism that is being played in this country, and all governments are playing politics with it because they do not want to lose their vote banks. They are not worried about Sanatan faith and their privileges, and this particular yatra is a pilgrimage. Please understand that it has an objective to it. And if a Hindu person going on a pilgrimage of a Kanwar Yatra does not want to eat a food from a particular shop, it is his choice. If he wants to, he can still go. It is not being prohibited under that order. It is the most secular order that we have. It is constitutional, it is legal, it is statutory. So nobody out here can teach a lesson to Hindus that they don't have feelings and that those feelings can never be hurt.
Okay.
It is that one-way street cannot be allowed.
Pooja, the other question that arises is, or at least what the administration is saying, that see, on ground, the public understands both the intention and the meaning of this order and why this order is necessary. Many Muslim vendors have said that their business anyways is low during this yatra period because devout Hindu devotees would be very careful and disciplined about what they eat and where they eat it from. So, is it that sometimes politicians, have a greater propensity to call something communal and divisive than even society does? Society understands food preferences and others as a way of life. They, in areas where Hindus and Muslims live together, they understand these preferences of each other.
Exactly, Shivani. The Kanwar Yatra has been going for decades. My mom has been taking it for years and years, and there has been Muslims who have been cleaning up the street. There have been Muslims who have been taking up seva, who has been giving voluntary service to the Kanwar Yatris as a form of their offering to the god. The public understand this, and that has been reflected. I'm saying again that the voting percentage of the Faizabad Lok Sabha constituency and Badrinath is the politicians, is the Bharatiya Janata Party that's trying to communalize the issue.
My point was that on ground, Pooja, that on ground, Muslim vendors understand where this is coming from. Muslim vendors, proprietors, business owners are not objecting.
It's not the people who are running multi-crore beef exporting halal economy. Is the informal vector, some Shaukat were working in a dhaba, has been thrown out of the job or been kept on for a job for for some a month or so. It's a fruit seller whose fruit you will not consume because he has displayed his name. I'm saying the public is smart enough, but I think BJP should stop politicizing.
Okay, BJP. Last 30 seconds to our BJP representative. Very quickly, sir. Mr. Mishra, only 30 seconds.
Shivani, there are certain things like Gyan Vaishnav Dhaba owned by Rahim, Shiv Shankar Dhaba owned by Ajam, Pandit Dhaba owned by Atik. What is this? Is it not cheating? Is it not 400 BC? It is not 420. This is one thing. Second thing, if my friend is not opposing halal economy, which is $7 trillion economy all over the globe, how many people got discriminated because of this economy? Have you ever thought of that? Because it is connected to your vote bank, that is why you are not saying anything and keeping mum. Come out of the vote bank politics. Please see what is halal economy is. And quantum of halal economy is 7 trillion. India is trying for just $5 trillion economy. It is halal economy still 7 trillion has been crossed, and it is the fastest growing economy. It means gradually, day by day, discrimination from one community to all other communities.
So are we
is
blind
continuous process.
to
so please object about that.
Discrimination of one kind, which is actually written and coded, and we are more sensitive to quote unquote discrimination, which is only about informed choice and letting the customer know and decide where they want to eat from according to their preferences. I think This is an interesting debate and a Pandora's box that has been opened up. And what will happen in future, whether this will become the norm or will this still stay the exception, is a big question in front of us. I do thank our guests for joining us. Coming up on the other side, we focus on the big international story. Trump delivers his first speech post an assassination bid and lays out his vision for America. Is this looking like a done deal for the former US president? We'll take that question to our guests after a break.
Do you know what it feels?
Welcome back. Over to the big presidential elections in the US this year. The 2024 GOP convention came to a close earlier today with former President Donald Trump formally accepting his party's nomination just 5 days after surviving an assassination attempt. With a reminder of how he is, quote, not supposed to be here, Trump recounted the assassination bid on him. He battled for unity despite the political violence against him, but also stuck to the rest of his election agenda that has been called divisive by opponents. Issues like, quote, the invasion of the southern border found mention in his speech. Melania Trump also made a rare public appearance, joining her husband on stage along with other family members. Let's take you through some of the highlights of Trump's speech. While speaking on the assassination bid, he said the bullet missed him only because he leaned forward seconds before the shot was fired. He also added that he felt that God was on his side. Trump laid down his vision for America. He said he will bring economic relief and lower inflation. He also promised to restore law and order in the country. In his first speech after choosing J.D. Vance as his running mate, Trump said he will be a great vice president and also called Vance and his Indian origin wife, Usha, a smart couple. So is it ab ki baar Trump Sarkar all over again in the US? Let's tell you a little bit of what pollsters are suggesting as it stands. In the 7 battleground states, pollsters are giving Donald Trump the edge as far as betting odds are concerned. Trump is leading by anywhere from 6 to 2 points in most of the prominent polls. There is only one prominent poll that showed a 2-point lead for Biden, while one showed them tied. But in the more recently updated ones, updated as latest as yesterday, Trump is clearly ahead. So the big question we take to our guest joining us in just a bit is it a done deal for a Trump Sarkar?
In the longest convention address in modern American history, Trump began with a call for unity as he recounted the attempt on his life last week. He later outlined key campaign promises on the economy and the border in an off-script address. Former President Donald Trump addressing the crowd on the final day of the Republican National Convention, accepting his 3rd GOP presidential nomination.
I am running to be president for all of America, not half of America.
Just days after surviving an assassination attempt at a Pennsylvania rally, he detailed that near-death experience.
I started to, like this, turn to my right and was ready to begin a little bit further turn, which I'm very lucky I didn't do.
Sources say he's been intensely focused on this speech in recent days, personally dictating and writing portions of the address. Trump told those close to him he wanted to strike a more unifying tone.
Despite such a heinous attack, we unite this evening more determined than ever.
He only mentioned President Joe Biden's name once.
Only going to use the term once. Biden.
A marked departure from his 2 previous convention speeches. And for the most part, he focused on the core themes guiding his campaign, including inflation, the economy, crime, and immigration, ending the night on a more familiar tone.
But we become a dumping ground for the rest of the world, which is laughing at us. They think we're stupid.
Trump and his running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, will hold their first joint campaign rally at an indoor venue in Michigan this weekend.
Let's go across to our guest joining us. Puneet Ahluwalia is former Republican candidate for Lieutenant Governor in Virginia. Peter Kuznick is author and professor at American University. I thank both of you for your time. Puneet, why don't I begin with you? The big question that many are wondering is Trump now truly acceptable to the entire wider Republican base? What is your sense?
Well, he has not only to the Republican base, but to most Americans, because they see the tenacity and the vision of a man who has strong faith in God. And most importantly, he has also chosen a young, bright man as his vice president who is married to Indian American Usha and also happens to be a Hindu American. And he's laid out his vision very clearly and said it's not for half of America, but all of America. He recited the Pledge of Allegiance, one nation under God, and importantly highlighted the issues that are the problems that we are having in this country, from immigration to jobs being outsourced, along with the crisis. And the crisis there on the Democratic side, because the entire Democratic Party is in disarray, because Biden has failed, and most importantly, it's incompetent. And there's chaos there. And that's the force I see coming out of this convention, that people are mobilized and ready to go and win the White House in the election. And not only the White House, but also the Congress.
And is that particularly because of that assassination bid? How has that changed the mood within the Republican base and the rest of the country, you think?
What happens is when you have to realize most Americans, including the people who immigrated, are very strongly faith-based. And this came so close to him losing his life that it was millimeters away. And only people who can feel see in the face of death. And also, if you see the tone of President Trump, it's far more, talking about unity and reaching out and talking about all of America. And people who are in business are concerned about the inflation, the economy issue, the defunding of police, which the Democrats have been beating the drum on. So they are fundamental issues, which are kitchen table issues, which Trump is highlighting, and most importantly, drill baby drill, or have our economic and financial independence, as most importantly, energy independence, is what Trump is trying to get back to here.
Yeah, he did talk about unity, but there is some criticism that the rest of his speech was the pure rhetoric that has come from him earlier as well. Puneet, I'll come back to you for more on that. I want to go across to Peter as well. Peter, the Republicans do often say that the world was a safer place under Trump, certainly in comparison to Biden's term. Do you think they have a point here?
First of all, Trump stresses the crime in America, his American carnage theme. Crime is way down in America. It's not up. Globally, the world is very, very dangerous. And that's part of the reason why I'm so critical of Biden. Under Trump says the world was so peaceful under him. There was wars everywhere going on. This was not a peaceful world, but what we have now are two major wars of a degree and dimension that didn't exist under Trump. We've got the war in Gaza, and we've got an intensification of the situation in Ukraine, both of which are very, very dangerous. Now, when it comes to Trump he claims that he's going to tamp down and end the war in Ukraine. But if anything, he would reinforce the Israeli assault on Gaza, which is very, very unpopular in the United States and globally. And he would provoke China even more than Biden has been doing. Biden was a disappointment. When Biden came to office, many of us hoped he would break definitively with Trump policy when it came to China and when it came to Ukraine. But that didn't happen. Can I
ask you? Can I ask you, do you feel there is still time for Biden, or it's time up for him?
Biden is finished. There is no question that Biden is out of this race. And that's a good thing for the Democrats right now. Clearly, if he stayed in the race, the Democrats would have gotten slaughtered in November. If you get a new
he's not backing out, Peter.
He's backing out, yes. He's very stubborn. He's very narcissistic, like Trump is. And he thinks of himself as the only one who can lead the party. But the American people, more than 80% of the American people, think that he is not capable of being president any longer. More and more doctors are coming out publicly now. Biden, the problem is he's in this little cocoon. We've got the 81-year-old narcissist who listens to his wife, who's a community college English teacher, and his son, who's a convicted felon and former drug addict. And those are the people who are determining the future of the United States and the world right now. So that's good. That's finished. Obama's come out, Schumer's come out, Pelosi's come out, Jeffries has come out. I mean, Biden can be as stubborn as he wants, but his time is up.
Okay, we'll wait and see if that decision is formally announced. But given what Peter is saying, and Puneet, you heard he disagrees a little bit with what Trump stands for as well. But given how even he's describing Biden, is there a sense amongst constituents like you that this is a done deal now, that Trump Sarkar is coming back?
Shivani, I'll say one thing. In politics, anything can change in 15 days to 30 days. It's always very critical. And one wrong move or wrong statement can change the entire paradigm, just the way one missed bullet, thank God for that, has changed the entire campaign for Trump and the Republicans, which have made us more mobilized. But I do agree with Peter on the disarray and the confusion that is existing in Democratic Party, and changing the horse midstream, and especially now it's very hard, and especially it'll be very likely Kamala Harris who's going to come in because there's nobody else who can inherit the war chest of the Democratic or Biden presidential election. So. Yes, there is going to be chaos, but you also realize that people start focusing on election in the last 30 to 45 days. And again, it'll be the kitchen table issues. And I'll also want to disagree with Peter. There are laws which are not being enforced by the prosecutors, which are liberal prosecutors who have got elected to the county positions. And what it is our police are catching and releasing these criminals. And that's the problem we have. And that's the reason folks like myself chose to run for office, because we see the small business community, which happens to be large Asian American and the migrant communities, are suffering because you don't prosecute crime. And you can see all the things that are going in our schools where the teachers are making the decision and keeping the parents or the parental rights are being also challenged by liberal prosecutors and by liberal leadership.
Okay.
So
No, crime in itself unfortunately is a whole debate, and we could debate this as long as we liked. But I do want to ask you, Puneet, that there is a section that has found Trump to be divisive, excessively rhetorical, even below the belt when it comes to comments against people that he's talking about. And there is criticism that didn't really change yesterday or earlier today.
Shivani, one thing is that you can't change Trump at this age and stage, even though he's seen and had a word with God. And that's very emotional and powerful. In fact, he said, I'm here through God's will. But he's straight. At least you know what he stands for. He's going to call you out and tell you what is right and what's wrong. When he talks about unity, he truly means unity. So you have to take him for the word for it. Why are we ignoring that part of being an American, of being a leader for all of America, not half of America, and at the same time talking about uniting? And prosperity and a great economy helps all Americans.
Peter is shaking his head. Why is that, Peter?
Trump was a unifier for 17 minutes. He was the old divisive Trump for more than an hour. He can't help himself. This is the most divisive political figure in American history.
Peter, when they have had their life given back to them, you will see that he'll go down in history as one of the greatest presidents the United States have had, and we will have less war and promote more peace. We'll try to get our Wall Street Journal journalists back from... Yeah, we're going to get our Wall Street Journal journalists back from Russia. These are things which we want to happen.
Peter, yes.
As a historian, I can tell you one thing. Trump is going down as the worst president in history. American historians almost unanimously consider Trump to be the worst president in American history, not a great president. And his claims that Biden is the worst president, as Trump likes to say, I'm enormously critical of Biden. But his domestic policy has been fairly successful. I think his foreign policy is a disaster.
Okay. But Peter, can I ask you very quickly? I've got limited time. This whole thing about being the victim of political violence, there is rhetoric and there is statements, but Trump has actually faced political violence and an assassination bid that hasn't happened in America for decades. Do you think that there's something basic about that amongst the American public that just does not stand for that, and even those who may not like Trump will have sympathy for him?
I think there is universal sympathy for Trump as being the victim of violence. And we all were happy that that bullet missed him. But for all those who think he was saved by God, there are an equal number, a greater number, who think he was saved by Satan. So it depends on which side you want to look at it. Now Trump is Trump has got a threshold of a little bit more than 45%. The fact that Biden is so weak, so inept, so incompetent, and that Trump is barely beating him, that is still within the margin of error, I think the Republicans should not be so enthusiastic and confident as they seem to be. They should be concerned that if you get a competent, more progressive, younger, vibrant Democrat running, Trump is going to be defeated in this election. And now the question is he ever going to admit that he was defeated if that occurs? It's going to become a very close election again. And I think the Democrats will have the advantage if they pick the right person, which does not mean Kamala Harris, sadly. She has not distinguished herself, but there are other Democrats who would really give the Republicans more than a run for their money in this election.
All right. Is it too late for that, though, is the question that some are asking. It was a pleasure having both of you on the show. I do thank you for joining us and sparing your time. Let's talk a little bit about Biden, because the Democratic National Committee has announced plans to hold a virtual roll call to officially nominate President Joe Biden as the party's candidate for the upcoming election as well for the first week of August. Now, this is happening even as a growing faction of House Democrats are wary and are raising concerns against him.
I think he deserves the respect of being able to reflect on this moment.
Many senior-ranking White House and Biden campaign officials now privately believe President Joe Biden must abandon his re-election campaign soon. That's according to more than 24 sources with knowledge of the matter.
I'm confident that we will nominate the best candidate to take on and defeat Donald Trump. For me, that's Joe Biden. For some of my colleagues, they have different views.
A Democratic governor in touch with party officials says the next 72 hours are big, and this can't go on much longer. Some sources say Biden has become increasingly isolated with a shrinking inner circle. A White House spokesperson says the president hasn't changed his team. His campaign insists he's staying in the race and has a chance to win. But some sources worry Biden isn't getting good information about his poll numbers.
I would rather do anything else than work against the second Biden administration, but it can't happen. It won't happen.
At least 20 House Democrats are publicly asking Biden to step aside. They say he should release the delegates he won during primaries. Under party rules, Democrats could then elect a new nominee at their convention.
There is a process. As chaotic as some people think it is, it's much favorable to a Trump second term.
Co-powered by
I stand before you this evening with a message of confidence, strength, and hope. 4 months from now, we will have an incredible victory, and we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet. And moved my right hand to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place. I immediately knew it was very serious, that we were under attack, and in one movement proceeded to drop to the ground. Bullets were continuing to fly as very brave Secret Service agents rushed to the stage, and they really did. They rushed to the stage. There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet, in a certain way, I felt very safe because I had God on my side. The amazing thing is that prior to the shot, if I had not moved my head at that very last instant, the assassin's bullet would have perfectly hit its mark, and I would not be here tonight. We would not be together. We will return law and order to our streets, patriotism to our schools, and importantly, we will restore peace, stability, and harmony all throughout the world. But to achieve this future, we must first rescue our nation from failed and even incompetent leadership. We have totally incompetent leadership. This will be the most important election in the history of our country. Under the current administration, we are indeed a nation in decline. Then there's an international crisis, the likes of which the world has seldom been part of. Nobody can believe what's happening. War is now raging in Europe and the Middle East. A growing specter of conflict hangs over Taiwan, Korea, the Philippines, and all of Asia. And our planet is teetering on the edge of World War III. And this will be a war like no other war because of weaponry. The weapons are no longer army tanks going back and forth shooting at each other. These weapons are obliteration. It's time for a change. This administration can't come close to solving the problems.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for our future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
This is CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studio.
The hard facts from the CNN News 18 Federal Bank Primetime Studios. Viewers, the champions of Atmanirbhar Bharat, the tribe of conservatives and the malcontents of globalization are having a told you so moment. The Microsoft outage has given all of them a chance to have a right royal moan about the liberal world order, the international post-World War II system characterized, at least in one context, by the encouragement of global trade, economic interdependence, and multilateral agreements. And why not? Look at the mayhem caused by a single rogue file called C-0000291#.sys. This single bit of code in a single content update literally fried the dendrites of the Microsoft's operating system that literally turned blue, the pallor of death. This is what we know. The update to cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike Software caused the outage. CrowdStrike CEO confirms, quote, defective update, unquote, hit all Windows hosts. The outage disrupted airlines, banks, and other businesses worldwide. CrowdStrike CEO confirms, quote, no cyber attack or security breach, unquote. CrowdStrike says, quote, a fix for defective update has been deployed, unquote. Microsoft, on its part, viewers, has come out and said the global systems are normalizing as root cause of the outage has been fixed. But till the last we checked, there were still several systems that were coming to terms with this disruption. The descent into coma triggered global mayhem. No country except autarkies like China, Russia,